Today, we are going to talk about what is entitled The Black Pill of Christendom. That is the Sitra Achra, the left side of the tree of life. As I mentioned many times, then I will link the previous video, which I go in depth on the Sitra Achra. So most of the people, 99% of Christians and in Christendom, do not understand this mystery because it's unsettling. The black pill of Christendom. This is a quote dark side of Christendom that most people do not want to think about. We see this etched in scripture all throughout the Bible. The fact of the matter is that the left side of the tree of life, those fallen angels, those bad actors, wicked rulers in high places, God still weaves these activities, these unfair, bad, if you will, evil things into his plan. See, we live in a world, a universe with free will. All of these creations have free will. God, outside of time and soul, is unperceivable, limitless, boundless, no end, no beginning. His length and depth and height, the extent of his being is without comprehension. So to compare him to Lucifer, to the devil, and all the fallen angels and demons, they are nothing to him. It's almost laughable. If you look at the scale of the planets and the stars and the sun, you see the stars that are 10 to 100 times bigger than the sun, and that sun 10 to 100 times bigger than the previous sun, and another sun 10 to 100 times bigger than the last sun, goes on to infinity. That's still within creation, and God is bigger than that. So the devil, Lucifer, and these fallen angels are mere specks. They're small. They're nothing. God is the master chess player. He's the creator of the chess game. He also rigged the game in his favor because he created all of the universe. So he had to create the universe to work out for his plan and his purpose, you see, so that he may get the glory. God did not leave things without any order, without any plan. Even in the beginning, where we see with Adam sinning and the devil tempting him, the cosmos was already written that this was happening, particularly in the zodiac sign of the Scorpio. But the thing is that zodiac sign, the Scorpio zodiac sign, is the only zodiac sign with another sign in it, which is the eagle, also referred to as the phoenix. So the thing is that we understand this in scripture where Genesis 3:15 says, I will put enmity between you and the woman, referring to the serpent, who is referred to as Scorpio, the scorpion serpent, the ancient dragon. And between your offspring and hers, he will crush your head and you will strike his heel. So in the very act of the scorpion, of the serpent, striking the woman's seed, Christ's heel, it directly caused the crushing of the head of the serpent, the scorpion, the destruction of the plans and the power of the enemy. So, any times that it seems like the evil realm is succeeding, God so massively weaves that into his plan where the devil has no idea that he's being bamboozled. He has no idea that he's losing before he even starts. We are winners. The end of the book of Revelation tells us that. We won from the beginning. The Lamb was slain before the foundation of the world. The gospel is written in the heavens, declares the glory of God, in the constellation zodiac. It's written throughout time. So the universe, in all of time, in events in the world, in aeons of existence, is rigged, is designed for the glory of God. That the devil loses, he's already lost before it begins. So even if it seems like he's winning, it's only an illusion, you see, because the very act of the devil, the serpent, the Scorpio, striking the heel of Christ, of the woman's seed, it directly causes the destruction of the devil himself, destruction of the evil plans. But we still have in time, which is part of the 10 emanations of God, the Sephiroth, in creation of the heavens to the earth. In time, we still have this mixture of good and evil. We see this in scripture with Ecclesiastes 3 says a time for everything. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pick up what is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break, a time to build up. This is a dichotomy of of what God works in creation in this present temporary fallen state of creation where we have good and evil. The dichotomy of good and bad actors, of the angels and the demons and devils and archangels, and even in God himself. It says in scripture, Isaiah 45:7, God says, I form light and create darkness. I bring prosperity and create disaster. Another translation, I make well-being and create calamity. I make peace and create evil. Evil in the Hebrew, that word is Ra. And that has to do with all things bad, evil, calamity, injury, just unpleasant injury, sad, unhappy. So God is in the midst of weaving all these different threads in creation, the good and the bad. But he has to use these things because they're still part of the free will and they're still part of creation. But he's a master weaver. He's a master at this chess, so that even in adversity and evil and destruction, even when it seems the devil is winning, it's an illusion. He's losing. He's already lost. And in the end, as Joseph said in Genesis 50:20, Joseph said to his brothers, you intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. Another translation says, but as for you, you thought evil against me. You intended it for evil, but God meant for good. So the devil means it for bad. God, in his weaving, in his planning, he means it for good. So this side is also showing the dichotomy of the left and the right side of the tree of life. But getting to the black pill of Christendom is most 99% of Christians do not understand this part. The redemption is that the Scorpio sign is also an eagle phoenix, and that Scorpio is buried, is destroyed by its very trying to destroy, it's destroyed by Satan killing Christ on the cross. Even though Christ gave up his life, it caused the destruction of himself, his very own kingdom. So the destroyer going to destroy destroys himself. That's how God has it rigged in our favor, in his favor, you see. So we have the left and the right side of the tree of life. Those bad actors, the wicked rulers, they have their own sides where they operate on the left side of the tree of life, particularly the greater judgment. And as I mentioned in previous videos, is when the people of God and the world are not operating and stirring the right side of the tree of life. The left side of the tree of life, and the wicked rulers, they gain power and they gain position, and they stir the left side of the tree of life, which activates and empowers the wicked powers and principalities of the air, so that they have their jurisdiction and doorway into to administer disease and death and devastation upon the earth. But usually this happens is because of the people of God in Israel. They go astray. So God inevitably has to judge them, not without patience and grace. We see that in Ezekiel when we see this cherubim, this coming with a big cloud of the glory. We see this cherubim is defined as the glory of God, the cloud, and all the light, and all the colors. We see this beautiful image, but this vehicle is also the vehicle that administers judgment coming from the north. Though when coming from the east, it's ministering restoration, peace, and the Shekinah glory into God's people and into the temple, Israel. But when people are not aligned and not repentive, we have this vehicle of judgment that, though it is coming from the very hands of God, from that level, from the level of the heavenlies, we see them coming from the hands of God and the coal coming out of the cherubim. But when it's enacted upon the earth, it's through the hands of men, particularly God used in the book of Ezekiel. We see that sword, that arrow that God said that he would use, was actually a sword and the arrow of Babylon, the king of Babylon. So the sword of God in the earthly was the sword of Babylon. The arrow of God in the heavenlies is actually manifested as the arrow of Babylon, bringing destruction upon Israel. You see this in Ezekiel 21, down here, 28th verse. And you, son of man, prophesy, say, thus says the Lord. A sword is drawn for the slaughter. It is polished to consume, to flash like lightning. You understand, we saw lightning in the cherubim. This lightning can also be good, or it could be judgment. It could be destruction. It is an economy of the left and the right side of the tree of life, where the fire can be healing, or the fire can be destruction, depending on your alignment in your relationship with God. It can be protection, or it can be obliteration and annihilation. So going through another scripture of Ezekiel, says here in Ezekiel 5, headline is Jerusalem will be destroyed. And how is Jerusalem destroyed? Is through and via Babylon. The king of Babylon came to take over Israel and the temple. But this was prophesied and this was enacted first in the heavenlies via the cherubim technology, the throne and the glory of God, you see. So although it may start in the heavenlies with the cherubim. Cherubim is this vehicle that can either administer judgment or restoration. Because the sword can either be a sword of light or can be a sword of death. Fire can be a fire of protection and restoration, or it can be a fire of destruction. It all depends on whether you're on the side of grace or disobedience. You see, so the black pill of Christendom is that though it may seem like the devil is seems like the devil's control and the world is in the world is in the clench of the hands of the evil one. And it almost seems like we are doomed. That God is very much in control. That the devil is a small pawn piece in God's hand. And he knows it, but he always underestimates God's wisdom, power, vastness, intelligence. That in his arrogance and pride, he thinks that he can cause humanity and thwart God's plans. But he cannot, because God even weaved the devil's pride and stubbornness and arrogance into his plans. So God actually banks on the devil's arrogance, stubbornness, as Pharaoh was stubborn. And God was glorified all the more each time Pharaoh decided to not let God's people go. So in closing, you got to understand is that though we have this Scorpio sign, Serpent, that's trying to destroy us, in the very act of destroying, he is destroyed. In the very act of bruising the heel, striking the heel, his head is crushed and his kingdom is demolished. So we win. We win before we even start. It's rigged in our favor because God designed it that way. This is the masterful nature and the design of the architectural nature of God in his weaving creation together. Even while using the presence of evil, he still will get his glory and he still will have his way.